Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. A few months ago, I decided on a whim, and sometimes our best ideas can come on a whim, that I was going to do research on three companies that were listed on the ASX that I knew absolutely nothing about. One of these companies I actually did hear of, I did know the name of, the other two companies, no idea. And those three companies were Ryder Capital, Austral Resources. Ryder Capital is an LIC, if I remember correctly. Austral Resources is a copper producing company that is actually not trading right now. It's been in a suspended state of trading since the 31st of August. In fact, I'll have a look to see if that suspension has now been lifted, because last time I looked, it could have been lifted at the end of December. And the third company I chose at random, yeah, all these three companies were chosen at random, is a company I'll be featuring in today's video. Now, my original idea was to feature all three companies in the one video, but then I realized that one video was going to be too long. So my second idea was to do three standalone videos on all three companies. I've already released the first two videos, and now we get to the last video in this series, Immuron. Now, this is the one company I did hear or have heard of in the past. Now, just looking at the name Immuron just screams out healthcare. So definitely a healthcare company here. And this is their website. Before I have a look at their website, I'm just going to go back to Austral Resources just to see if their suspension has been lifted. Just go to announcements. So this is the trade history. Last time traded 31st of August. So it seems like they have not come back to trading. An extension of voluntary suspension. I won't talk about Austral Resources in this video. Go back to my previous video. It's all about financials. So even though they are a copper producer, they are having some financial difficulties as we speak. Anyway, back to Immuron. So I know nothing about this company except they are healthcare. And just by looking at this particular or their particular website, a little bit of intrigue here, because this company is selling products. It seems like you can buy two products: Protectin, which protects infants from diseases of the digestive tract. They're also selling Travelan, reducing the risk of travelers' diarrhea. So just based off the two products they are selling, this company is focused on the digestive tract or system. So you could say this company is a crappy company, not because of the quality of the company, just because of what their specialty is in the digestive tract or system. So it is a good thing that this company is selling products. So this is a real company selling a product or a service. That's actually a step in the right direction. That is the first thing I want to look at. I want to see if a company has revenue, if they're selling something, and if they can gain more traction in what they're selling. I'm not sure how successful these products are. If they can gain more traction, if they can sell these products worldwide, who knows what the limit is for Immuron. Anyway, so know nothing about this company at this point in time, except they're selling two products. So what I'm going to do now is go to Market Index. I'll come back to the website in a second. I'm going to go to the Market Index. I like this homepage here, front page of Immuron on Market Index, because you do get a fair bit of information just by looking at this one page. So for instance, market cap of this company is 18 million. So fairly low market cap for this company. So more than likely, even if they are selling these two products, either they're not profitable or the profitability is fairly low. Shares in issue 227.8 million. It's the 1,595th biggest company on the ASX out of almost 2,400. Just by looking at the 1 year chart here, share price just going sideways. And yeah, healthcare, we already know that. And snapshot, they do talk about treatment of diseases associated with the gastrointestinal tract. So we already know that. But the main reason I've gone to Market Index is because of announcements. So history, or the complete history of announcements from Immuron here available for you, going as far back as, I believe, about early 2000s, I believe. So if the company has been listed on the ASX for longer than about 25 years, you won't get all the announcements here. So what I like to do whenever I start researching this company is go to the very first announcement that is on Market Index. So you hit this button here all the way to the end. And the very first announcement this company released was on the 18th of January 2006. Travelan potentially identified for ad therapeutic indication. So it seems like this is the same company, but is it the same name? Is the other question. Is it the same name? You can open up No, they've changed the name, Anadis Limited. But seems like maybe they were selling Travelan all the way back then. Anyway, so seems like the company is still in very similar company. So one of the reasons I do want to go back to the very first announcement company is released is because of the possibility the company has recently listed on the ASX, and I want to look at the prospectus. If I am researching a company, I prefer to look at the prospectus if the company has a list on the ASX within the last, say, 3 years or so. The reason I prefer a prospectus is because it's a plethora of information, not only on the company, but also the sector or the industry the company is in. But because Immuron has been on the ASX for seems like a long time, at least since 2006, we don't have the prospectus here. So let's go back to their website and have a look at the About section. Sometimes you do get a fair bit of information about a company just in their About section. Talk about what they do. And just here, the company was incorporated under laws of Australia in 1994 and has been listed on the ASX since April 30, 1999. And it seems like right here, the company's also listed on the NASDAQ Capital Market in June 2017, listed on the NASDAQ under the symbols IMRN and IMRNW, respectively. I'm not sure why they have dual listing, particularly with a company this size. Dual listing, interesting. And the company has been listed on the ASX since 1999, but under original or different name than Immuron. What was it called again? Anadaris or something like that. Anyway, so no prospectus, and by this stage, if a company has been listed on the ASX since 1999, the prospectus they did release back then is going to be out of date. So the next thing I like to do is, well, let's have a look at the product pipeline. So I just want to see if they're developing anything else. So Immuron's clinical programs, Travelan, Traveler's Diarrhea, phase 2. I'm not sure what they're doing there. And also IMM529, not going to try to pronounce that. Clostridiodides difficile. Our clinical programs. So they're partners with the Uniformed Services University and Naval Medical Research Command. That's interesting. So it seems like they do have a relationship with the military, particularly the American military, which is possibly one of the reasons why they are dual listed on the NASDAQ, because if they are dual listed, they might have develop a better relationship with the United States military. And traveler's diarrhea might be an issue with the military. I don't know. I have traveled all my life and I've never had an issue with that sort of thing. But just because I've never had an issue with it doesn't mean other people don't. So what I was going to do is actually open up their most recent annual report. And I should have gone back to the product pipeline, because more than likely the annual report that they released in September, 185 pages long, might take a little bit of time to open up. For some reason, ComSec takes a while to open up announcements. If I actually open up this through Market Index, it would have taken a long time. Nice little cover page here from Immuron. Okay, so now they are dual listed, so there's a possibility they might have a form yet, Form 20F. I think it's called a 10K, if I remember correctly. But a Form 20F is for companies that are listed on the American exchanges but are overseas companies, that sort of thing. I think that is it. So it's very similar to the 10K. Is it called the 10K? I forget now. I should do more research on American companies, but I am learning some of their names. 10K. Whoops. I Googled 10K on my phone, but it came up with 10K fun runs, which makes sense. 20F, Form 20F. Yeah, 10K. Is 20F the same as a 10K? Form 10K is for US-based companies. I actually have this right. Well, Form 20F is for foreign companies. So this is going to be fairly similar to the 10K. I have been looking at 10Ks, and interesting enough, a lot of the 10Ks, if not all of them, start off with risks. And I do like to have a look at risks. Anyway, and yeah, just by looking at the start of the 20F, it's a very similar beginning. So I'm just going to zoom in. But let's go back to the start. Chairman's letter. talking about sales, so the first thing I want to look at, one of the things I want to look at is the financial statements. I want to see how successful Travelan and Protectin are, and they do put, or they have put in some numbers here. So not the most impressive lot of numbers, but nice growth. So overall, global sales of Travelan and Protectin increased by 136%. Sort of makes sense because this company would have been negatively affected by the lack of traveling in the last few years. So increasing the sale of Travelan, particularly Travelan, because travelers diarrhea, no one's been traveling, and that has increased 136% to 1.8 million compared to 765,000 in financial year 22. So this company is not producing a lot of revenue. So Travelan and Protectin, there's not many sales unless they're selling it for like 5 cents. So maybe they are selling a lot, but the price is not that high. This growth was attributable to increasing sales in both Australian pharmacy and US passport health travel clinics. That's interesting. What else do they talk about here? The strength and character of our international relations, particularly with the US Department of Defense and its agencies, the Naval Medical Research Center and the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, continue to shine. So I'm not that impressed with how much they're selling their revenue right now. But what might impress me about this company is they're developing a relationship with the Department of Defense. So possibly one of the reasons they are dual listed is because they want to enhance that relationship. So even though I might not be interested in Immuron just now, just based off their financials, just this relationship means I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to this company. So maybe do a little bit more research. One trial will focus on the ability of the hyperimmune product to prevent infectious diarrhea caused by ETEC. What's ETEC? Oh, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. We'll just call it ETEC. Let's try to pronounce it. Well, me. Enterotoxigenic Escherichia coli, or ETEC. So they do have a little bit going on here. Our results show a loss for the year of $3.8 million, increasing from last year. So this company is loss making. Okay. A review of operations and activities, probably could go through that, but we already know this company doesn't have a lot of revenue, is loss making. Here's something interesting. Immuron has funding of 6.2 million Australian dollars for a research agreement with the US Department of Defense entitled Biologics License Application of a Therapeutic Bovine Immunoglobulin Supplement Targeting Travelers' Diarrhea Caused by ETEC. The company was awarded $4.8 million from the US DoD to test the efficacy of one large daily dose regimen of Travelan in a controlled human infection model clinical study using the ETEC strain H10407. So it seems like they are developing a really interesting relationship with the Department of Defense. So this is sort of more intriguing as I keep on reading stuff about Immuron. Now, I was going to, let's have a look at the risks. So typically in a 10K, the risks are right at the top. So this is the table of contents. So the risk should be near the top. Yeah, item 3D, risk factors. And then they go into the information of the company, history, development of the company, business overview, organizational structure, property, plan and equipment, and it looks like financial information. Financial information, page 70. Page 70. So let's go to page 15, which is risks. We've gone past it. So there should be a plethora of risks here. And the main reason there should be a plethora of risk because every single company has a plethora of risk, but this company is loss-making and it has or is developing relationships with the Department of Defense, and those relationships could become strained in the future. Really interesting, this first risk here, as a company undertaking research and development, our existing patent portfolio, we have incurred operating losses. We may continue to incur operating losses for the foreseeable future and may never achieve or maintain profitability. Reported losses the last 5 years of between about 2.9 million and 8.4 million. As of the 30th of June 2023, Our accumulated deficit or losses overall since this company lists on the ASX is $72 million. We may continue to incur operating losses for the next several years as we expand our research and development activities for the treatment of infectious diseases, etc., etc. We may never generate any revenue from prescription product models, and this area of business may never be profitable. Definitely a risk. We are a commercial and development stage company, and our success is uncertain. What if this company has ever had a profit? We can look at that in a second or so, where this company has ever had a profit. I was thinking maybe they might mention that earlier. Oh, no, wait, I actually did say it here. We have incurred losses in every period since we began operations in 1994. So this company has never had a profit. So that is actually a big red flag. So many red flags about this company so far. Not even sure if it's worth going down to the financial statements. 103, I'll put down here. Is it worth looking at this? We already know this company is not profitable. So let's have a look at the revenue. Nice increase of revenue from last. So the good thing about like the 10K is you have 3 years of history. And the last 3 years of history for Immuron has been impressive. They've increased revenue from $145 million or $145,000 to 1.8 million. But again, in 2021, there would have been no one traveling. So no one would have wanted Travelan. So loss making every single year. Again, $8.4 million loss in 2021. A lot of expenses there. So no need to really linger when you're looking at financial statements. Total equity at 19.6 million. They have $17.2 million of cash. This is where it can become interesting. So the markup cap of this company, what was it, $18 million? Yet this company has $17 million of cash. So this company is trading almost at cash value, and it's trading below book value. Book value is 19.6 million. So just based off that, you could maybe argue that this company is cheap, but they are burning through cash. So equity and cash will drop over the next few years unless they become profitable. So not much to look at when you look at the financial statement, apart from they are trading at low values compared to book value or equity and cash backing. And just looking at the cash flow statement, burned through $2.6 million of cash in 2023 and about $5 million of cash overall because they also made an acquisition, seems like, payments for acquisition of associate. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm not that interested in this company because of the financial. This company is not profitable, only $1.8 million in revenue, but they do have a relationship with the Department of Defense. Now, unfortunately, having that relationship is a sort of a win-lose situation because the Department of Defense, and I know this because I'm interested in another company that is developing a relationship with the Department of Defense, and any sort of government organization can be really slow when it comes to relationships. So this relationship may not bring any, may not be any success with this relationship that Immuron is developing until maybe 5, 10 years, maybe even longer than 10 years from now, because governments are slow. Even the military is slow. Anyway, what else should I talk about when it comes to Immuron? So we already know this company is not profitable. I'm not going to look at their financial history. Never been profitable. So probably the last thing we're going to look at is the chart. Let's look at the chart. What can the chart tell us? Nothing much. This is the weekly chart. So going back to 2013, so looks like the share price was significantly higher prior to 2013. You know what I might do? So this particular chart goes only back to 2008. They probably changed the name in 2008. I'm just going to test that theory. So just bear with me. So what I'm going to do now, I do like to know when a company changes. Substantial shareholder notice received from Tatura Milk. So a milk company was interested in this company. And it just, so I'm thinking they changed the name in 2008. Let me just back that up. launches products to reduce global childhood diarrhea deaths. That sounds really intriguing. Still called Anadis in June 2008. Seems like they were still called Anadis late in 2008. Anadis. Oh, there we go. Change of company name, December 2008. So they went from Anadis to Immuron, I'm assuming right here. Yeah, Immuron. There we go. So that's why in TradingView, the chart only goes back to 2008 because that's when they change. I don't like, sometimes when a company changes name, TradingView will continue the chart when it was called by the previous name, and sometimes they won't for some reason. For instance, what was that company? Red Brands, whatever it's called. Uh, Redbubble. They changed their name, and after they changed the name, you only see the chart from when they changed their name. Sometimes when a company changes the name, you see the whole history. Anyway, so back in 2009, 2010, the share price of Immuron got as high as $2.70. Now, there is a possibility that this company has gone through a share consolidation because more than likely shares on issue for this company has increased substantially because they've been loss-making throughout their whole entire history. So more than likely, the shares on issue for this company has increased significantly, maybe 10 to 20-fold over the past 20-odd years. Now, share price has been not doing anything for the last 10 years or so. There have been periods of time when the market has become interested for a short period of time. And the most recent period was back in the middle of 2020. Massive volume coming in, the share price took off. In fact, the share price in 1 week went up 225%. And then about 2 months later, share price increased 125%. So let's go back to 9th of June 2020. In fact, let's have a look at the daily chart. Why did the market get really excited about Immuron back in 2020? I would say it was just a 1 day. Yeah, so we actually look at the day, 2 days, looks like. So the first one was the 10th of June, up 261%, 10th of June. And then on the 21st of July, up 250%. Wow, look at that chart. And the share price just pulled back. So the market originally was really interested in these announcements, but then that interest died away fairly quickly. So 10th of June, and was it 10th of June, 20th, 21st of July? 10th of June, 21st of July? 10th of June, 21st of July. Tenth of June, ASX price query. US Defense requests FDA meeting just before, and then all of a sudden the share price rose 200% in 1 day, yet it must have been that US Defense requests FDA meeting, although that was a previous day. So let's have a look to see what the company said. No, other than the announcement made on the 9th of June, just mentioned, Immuron has no other explanation for the reasons for the increase in price and trading volume of Immuron securities. So ASX would have said, why has the share price increased from 8.3 cents to 45 cents over a 1 day period? Yeah, 8.3 cents to 45 cents. Okay, so no reason behind that increase in interest in Immuron. And what was the other day? 21st of July. A lot of announcements at this point. 21st of July, Immuron reports neutralizing activity against SARS-CoV. Understandable. A company just released information about something they're developing against SARS-CoV-2, whatever it's called, and that's why the market got excited. And it's also understandable why the excitement died away really, really quickly. So Immuron took advantage of COVID-19, and yeah, so I can't remember that. I wasn't following Immuron at all back then, and I wasn't really following which companies did well. And since then, share price has been going sideways since about the middle of 2022. Share price right now at about 8 cents or so. And at this point in time, there's no reason to get interested in Immuron because they are burning through cash. They're not profitable yet, but they are developing a relationship with the Department of Defense. And if that relationship is successful in the medium to long term, this company could be looking cheap at $18 million, particularly if they do solve problems when it comes to traveler's diarrhea in the military. So that's all I'm going to talk about when it comes to this video today. And Immuron, definitely not a diamond in the rough, but this company does have potential. So I probably would prefer this company over the other two, Ryder Capital, and what was the other one? Austral Resources. Now, Austral Resources is a copper producing company, but you can't buy and sell shares in that company just yet. So Immuron does look interesting, but at this point in time, just based off the chart, based off their financial, no reason to get excited about this company just yet. So if you do have any questions about this company, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.